What is up? It is Caps, Deeks and Shades. We have a bit of a discussion. So, guys, firstly, how you doing? You good?
Not bad.
Shades?
I'm absolutely fine and loving what we read earlier, which made us do this today.
Exactly. So, basically, the conversation is WWE to host a Italian PLE. So, I'll give you the rundown of what's basically been said. So, on the Gabby AF podcast interview with Cody said, I really hope Italy gets a PLE, gets a WWE PLE. We did a show in Italy, it was a live event, and he said they were, if people saw Scotland was outrageous. If people saw France was outrageous. I wish people would get to see what Italy was like. I didn't know what we were walking into. I didn't even know if we were on TV in Italy. There would be a great place for a PLE. I make no decisions and can't get anything done. That was a really cool experience. Now, quickly, Italy has never hosted a pay-per-view / PLE. The city of Milan hosted an episode of Raw in April 2007. Obviously, this episode is remembered mostly for the debut of Santino Marella, who was the chosen fan, obviously now knowing that obviously he was a wrestler. He challenged Umaga to the IC Championship. With help with Bobby Lashley, Marella defeated Umaga. And obviously that was his debut.
Just for that line alone, yeah, Santino Marella defeats Umaga.
I know.
With help, but even with help, defeating Umaga from back in the day, who was probably one of the top powerhouses back then.
Yeah, he was the Samoan bulldozer for a reason. The conversation, obviously for today, like for the next 10 minutes, it's basically just our thoughts on it, where we think it would be, kind of show names, possibly an event and stuff like that. So let's just start off with the idea of it being in obviously more of PLE. Obviously we've had it in Wales, we've had it in Scotland, we've had it in London, we're about to get one in Berlin. So are we enjoying these PLEs kind of more over this side of the water?
They're in France as well.
Yeah, France as well, yeah. So are we enjoying the PLEs this side?
What I'll say is this: every single PLE that they have done out of the US, no matter where it is, every single crowd is going to be insane. Yeah, no matter where they've been in the Europe tour, if we call it that, what they've done, the fans have shown up. They have blown the roof off of every single place. Even pre-shows, the fans in Europe are just insane anyway.
Yeah.
You know? So if they was to go to Italy, why not extend this Europe tour? WWE has even said on record many times, we understand, we have fans all over the world.
The fans in America, they're loud, but the fans in Europe are way louder. Mm-hmm. We deserve more pay-per-views in Europe just because we are so passionate and so loud.
Are we loud for wrestling pay-per-views as a whole? Because we don't get them as often.
Yes, we are starved of paper. Like, when you look at America, yeah? And there's no digs, no nothing, because, you know, America is where WWE was born. You know, it's a US thing. Mm-hmm. Yeah? They have shows near enough, probably they can go to near enough a show every night.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're spoiled for shows. We don't get that. So when we get, let's say, Money in the Bank London, you have people travelling from all across Europe to come to it. We're louder for the pure fact that we seize the opportunity. Like, finally, we've got something that we can go to.
Yeah, I would say we're loud and proud. All right, next question then. When should it be? Do you think the PLE pay-per-view, whatever you want to call it, should it be before we get WrestleMania, potentially WrestleMania Wembley?
If I was to look at it, like we were literally discussing this, you know, off air. Mm-hmm. By the time, with the standard dates, you know, the precautionary dates that we currently have for Mania, it's like the next 3 years it's all US. Yeah?
Potentially, yeah.
Let's just stick with that as a. Let's just say that becomes set in stone. Italy should get a PLE well before then.
All right.
I want it to be next year.
All right. What about Deeks? What are you thinking? Do you think we should get a PLE in Italy before we get Wembley, like a WWE Wembley?
Similar to England, they have a lot of big stadiums, so they could technically do a dummy run of a big stadium in Italy to see the volume and the noise they're going to get.
Obviously, with WWE, they done Money in the Bank in O2 Arena. They could have gone to a bigger stadium, and they didn't. So they could technically do a stadium, like an indoor event kind of stadium. I believe they've got some. And if they do that, and they go,
I think they've got 3 or 4 over there.
I've already picked where I want them to do it.
All right, well, we'll get onto that in a second. But just out of curiosity, do you think we'll get a big WWE Italy PLE before we get WrestleMania Wembley?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll say yes to that.
Yeah, me too. All right, let's get on to stadiums then. All right, let's get on to that. So obviously, if you're Italian, right? If you are an Italian person, the dream is obviously the bigger the better, right? So the San Siro Stadium, which is AC Milan Stadium, is a capacity of 80,000, right? Underneath that, we've got Stadio Olimpico, which is 70,634 people, and which is the hometown of AS Roma. And underneath that, Stadio San Nicola, which is AS Bari, right? That's 58,570. If WWE were to do a PLE and they wanted to test the waters and they kind of do what they've done many a times in London, obviously they've got more more venues, but they want to go somewhere small. I don't know where they've picked, because a lot of the stuff they have, as I said, is outside. So I mean, it depends on. I mean, Napoli's got a 12,000 one.
What we've got to remember as well, though, looking at the outside stadiums, Italy does generally get good weather in places.
Yeah, nigh on. Like they have good weather.
You know?
I'm not saying they don't.
So they can kind of look at weather and go, all right, this is a good time to try it and have it.
Right. But
I'm pretty sure that if we look around, there'll be a stadium that can seat 20, 30,000 that can be indoors.
Yeah, exactly. Just off the top of my head, though, using just football stadiums, there isn't many indoors.
No, not at all.
Yeah, I mean, I'm literally looking now, and there's not many. Torino FC, Stadio Olimpico Grande Torino. Obviously, that's outside. That's a 27,000 seater. Literally everything smaller than that is, it's just like outdoors. Obviously, it's really open. So obviously, weather permitted, you'd have to see when. Obviously, they'll do their research and when it's normally at its hottest where the summer is and all that kind of.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're going to go big and you're going to go home, it's either the San Siro, which is 80,000, the Stadio Olimpico, 70,000, or the Stadio San Nicola, which is 58,000. I would say even if they were able to go for the smaller one, the 58,000 one, I would say that's still quite a good number, 58,000 in Italy.
And they'd sell it out guaranteed, you know they will.
Yeah. So, what would you say? Would you say they could do something well with that?
They could do very well with it.
Deeks, what do you reckon?
Yeah, that size stadium for a decent sized pay per view, they'd make killing out of that. Killing. They would go in there, sell it out easily, probably twice over, make a load of money out of it, make a good pay per view, and the crowd will love it, and they'll be loud and proud, like I said a minute earlier on. So yeah, I reckon probably the 54 would be best. Probably would want to go for. I reckon.
Is either that, or they go for potentially they could look at kind of the size stadiums that they had with when Santino debuted. But then they have like, let's say 8,000. So, well, I mean, we always look at PLE as like a huge number. But then, like for example, London with Money in the Bank was only like 12,000.
And it was loud.
Yeah. So we've said we've said kind of stadiums, right? So for me, I think the show name, it has to be Clash at the Coliseum, no?
I love that.
I feel like that makes
like Clash at the Coliseum, Bash in Rome, Battle of Rome, Battle in Rome. You've got to have an Italy tie to the name.
Yeah. Diggs, have you thought of anything just off the bat, or?
I thought, fortunately, Cap just nicked to him on already. Unfortunately.
Yeah. Clash at the Coliseum seems like it's going to be the one. I like the idea of the clashes. Obviously, Clash at the Castle being in Scotland, one in Wales. Clash at the Coliseum kind of makes sense. Bash at Berlin, obviously, is another one that we've got coming up. But yeah, so them sort of names, it's going to be like a Clash or a Bash, and obviously it'll be off of like the Coliseum or something like that.
Yeah, I can see that.
All right, so with that being said, the first people that I thought of when we were talking about this, and if it's like we're talking about Coliseum, talking about Warriors, we're talking about like fighting, the two people that feel like who we could potentially have headline, if we was to just fantasy book who it could be, the two people that really spring to mind is Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre. I feel like because they're warriors, right? But that's not to take away from others. So if it wasn't Roman Reigns, I would like the idea of Gunther and Drew McIntyre maybe headlining. Two warriors going into battle in the Clash of Coliseum. That sounds insane.
You could also Gunther versus Sheamus as well.
Gunther, Sheamus, yep.
It would be Drew McIntyre versus Roman Reigns. Or Drew McIntyre solo Sikoa, like a full-on war.
Myself, I wouldn't mind seeing Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus himself.
I mean, all of them are solid. Notice that not one of us said Cody. The reason why I feel like not one of us said Cody, right, and I say this in the nicest way, is when you talk about like two wrestlers or two people going to war, it feels like they're going to be real big guys, like proper big, thick, muscle-sized, meaty guys. And I feel Cody doesn't come under that category. Cody comes under a different kind of category.
I'd like to see some NXT superstars in the middle of the card.
Well, this is what I was going to say just before we wrap up, is we're talking about obviously all these guys now. Let's say it doesn't happen for 2 years, right? You've got all these guys now that we've got currently. There could be a real like strong Italian person that kind of just comes through the next year and just gets like a Bron Breakker or a Brock Lesnar kind of push and just explodes onto the scene. Ideally, a huge Italian that would come on the scene, and if they were to explode onto the scene, for example, like Brock Lesnar did, or Bron Breakker has, Goldberg, something like that, as a homegrown talent from Italy, that would be perfect. However, I can't think of anyone in that caliber.
No, not gonna lie.
So, for the time being, without someone in that caliber, we kind of sit with, you know, the likes of Drew McIntyre, Brock Lesnar, Bron Breakker. You know, I mean, it could be Bron that's the one that highlights and main events this show, if it happens. But yeah, so final thoughts. If it does happen, obviously we're UK based, so if it does happen, are we taking a trip to Italy?
I wouldn't say no.
Be a good drive.
Yeah? Are you going to drive there? You're not flying, you're going to drive.
No.
Oh yeah, I'm flying.
I'll say this real quick to sign off. As long as Diggs drives, I'll go. Because that would be one heck of a drive.
Oh. But yeah. Alright guys, it's been great talking. Like, subscribe, ring that bell, and we'll catch you on the next one. Peace.